Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Uncontested Sports on this Monday night, March 7th. Jordan and Ringle, only the two of us. Joe is on the 10-day IL. He's on the disabled list. Joe is sick, so we will be without Joe for today's episode of Uncontested Sports. So just the two-man gang for today. We got MLB Lockout stuff to talk about. We'll be opening show with that. We lost some games already. First 2 weeks gone because of the inability for both sides to come to an agreement. NHL trade deadline is in 2 weeks, March 21st. It's a Monday. So we'll be talking about Isles and Rangers plans moving forward. Both teams, each team in different situations. But are the Islanders that far off as you think? Are the Islanders in that sell mode as you think? We'll get into that. And I'll talk about the Rangers and how I think they should go really go for it this year, because they have a lot of guys on the team that are really just killing it this year. So why not push to that finish for the end of the season? And then news came out today that Calvin Ridley will be suspended for the remainder of for the whole entire next season because of gambling. This is the first main gambling issue that has come out since gambling became legal. Started trickling out to a couple of states, and really, or is it like the biggest gambling scandal? Not biggest, but like one of the mainstream gambling scandals since like the Pete Rose one, and then you had the basketball ref, right?
Yeah, I would think it's one of the biggest, just because it's becoming more and more legal. So it's only gonna get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So I just feel like we're only gonna see more and more scandals.
Mm-hmm.
There really wasn't that many scandals because it's been so under the books, I guess.
Yeah, and now it's become
it's
so
not this
mainstream
public.
sports betting. So yeah, we'll finish off the show with talking about that. But before we get into our MLB Lockout conversation to start the show, follow us on Twitter at Uncontested Pod. Instagram is at Uncontested_pod. On Twitter account, you can listen every Monday nights at 7 on Twitter Spaces, where you can listen and join the conversation. You can also watch us on Twitter Monday nights at 7 through our Twitter account, like you're doing now. You see me and Ringle's faces. Joe will join us next week, but Joe, again, is out for today with lower upper body injury, whatever. That's hockey. Hockey, they never give out
it's just upper or lower.
Exactly.
Yep.
They never give that. They never give the other team an advantage. So, and then also find us on YouTube, Uncontested Sports on YouTube. You can watch us live through there as well. Make sure to like, subscribe, the whole thing. Do whatever YouTube, whatever option YouTube presents, just do it. All right. So the MLB, the sun just keeps getting slowly put out. The hope is slowly dying down for the MLB. We've already lost the first 2 weeks. And it seems like teams and owners, should I say, are getting more and more complacent with missing April. And the main problem that is being discussed is this competitive balance tax of getting it to like around 220 and then building it. They want to start at 220. They want to move to 230 over the years. I see from CBS Sports, the union ceded no ground on its request for the competitive balance tax to begin at 238 and then grow to 263. So that's even higher. So they didn't even get to that because they tried at 220 to get to 2 and then slowly build to 230 and the following seasons. But that was shut down. There was 4 teams that did not want to go along with, did not want the CBT to be pretty much a salary cap to be pushed up to 220. And that kind of just derailed the meetings last week. And that's the big issue right now. We'll get into some other things that have been kind of agreed on, like the shift and some, draft lottery going forward. But the main thing right now is the CBT. And there's owners before we get into the CBT, owners right now are under no rush. Really, the small market teams are really becoming the main event players in this negotiations, because Baltimore, Arizona, Pittsburgh, teams like that are small market or owners that don't spend a lot of money, they're perfectly fine with not playing in April or possibly into May, because like, we play in April and in May, we don't make money because we're a small market team. We don't spend money. So our fans don't want to come out to the ballpark in the middle of April, especially if we play in the Northeast, and especially if we're not good. So we're going to be losing money. So they're perfectly fine with not playing in April. The teams like the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, give me more big market teams. Both Chicago teams.
Yep.
San Francisco Giants. Those big market teams, they're getting hurt because like, we're losing money by not playing. We're losing money by not playing. You're saving money by not playing. So we want to get the ball rolling here. So it's really it's the lower level teams that are the driving force right now, and kind of the thorn in everyone's side from the outside looking in.
It's just a total mess all around, though. From what you're saying with the lower market teams, and then just the players and the owners can't get on the same page in general. I mean, you have these talks going back and forth. How many games are suspended already? 6, like the first 2 series. I think
weeks,
those are
2
official.
series, yes.
It's definitely gonna get more. There's no way they're gonna. That's gonna be it. There's definitely gonna be suspension of more games. But like you said, with the lower market teams not being in any rush, that just makes the mess even more messy, for lack of better words, because now you have now it's like some owners against some owners versus the players. So now you have ownership not on the same page.
And they're saying the ownership, they stand united, but do they?
Yeah.
Because the four teams
they're not going to come out and say this, but
we know the 4 teams
rush.
though.
Okay.
No one. They're not going to say.
They're not going
to. The Diamondbacks are not going to come out and say we're fine.
We're okay. Yeah.
So the Diamondbacks are one of the teams. The Tigers. I told you before the show, and I'm blanking on it. Diamondbacks, Tigers, Angels, which is weird, and then there's one other team. I'm blanking off the top of my head here. Diamondbacks, Angels, Tigers, and Cincinnati. So you have Cincinnati and Arizona, 2 small market teams that aren't good, all right, that don't want to have this competitive balance tax raised. So when you have the competitive balance tax raised, let's say it goes to 220. So basically the Yankees, the big market teams, the Mets, the Red Sox, and so on and so forth, all the big names, they're going to spend close to that 220. They're going to spend 215, 218. Some teams might go over and then pay. Like the Dodgers have been recently willing to go over. The Astros. Then you have teams like the Diamondbacks, we're not going to spend 215. We're going to spend 250 million. We're going to spend 90 million. We're going to spend 80 million. So we don't want that CBT going so high and the big market teams taking advantage of it, and we're screwed, and we're not going to. They're
even more uncompetitive.
Yeah, we can't afford to keep up with these teams. But then you have the Angels that don't want it to be raised. The Angels, Mike Trout, deservedly so, or he earned that contract. Albert Pujols, Justin Upton. They were competing in the Garrett Cole sweepstakes. They just offered a lot of money to Noah Syndergaard. Why are they that doesn't make any sense. They
hand out contracts.
And even Detroit, which is Detroit's not like New York and Boston and Houston and LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
But they could play around. They might have been, they are under new ownership, but they went big on Justin Uptons in the past. They had the Verlanders, the Scherzers back in the day.
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they sign Javi Baez this year?
Oh, wait, they have Javi Baez, right?
Didn't they just make 2 big additions?
About that.
I know, because it happened before the lockout, and now we forget about those.
Javi Baez is on the Tigers?
Right? Why do I remember this happening? This feels like forever ago because we've been in the lockout.
Yeah, he's on the Tigers.
And another big name went there too, right? It wasn't Correa, was it?
No, Correa's still around. Tigers free.
I think 2. Didn't they get 2 middle infielders? They got Baez and someone else. It's coming back to me, and I don't remember.
Let's see. No, that was the Rangers. They got Simeon and
that's who I'm thinking
Correa.
Of. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah, so the Tigers went out
and got Correa. Correa's not.
No.
You said Correa.
You
said Simeon?
Simeon, not Correa. Simeon and the guy on the Dodgers.
Seager. Oh, Seager. That's who I'm thinking of.
They had Simeon and Seager, which that's going to blow up in their face in 2 years. Give that a couple of years, and the Tigers are going to be pulling it. It's going to be Alex Rodriguez 2.0. So that's odd. They signed Javi Baez. They get the big name shortstop. I completely forgot about it. I did not even know they got Javi Baez. It's been so long.
Because you forget.
Yeah,
we all forgot. Long. All the players that have already signed pre-lockout, no one remembers.
Yeah, I just called Carlos
Correa. Correa.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. So it especially in the Angels part, it's the same owner that is the big money spender, this guy. And they're not okay with with the CBT going to 220 and then going up every year to 230. So that's odd. So now you have now the other 2 small market teams. You have the small market teams on 2 ways they're putting the screws to this. They're saying they're not saying it, but they're very okay with missing April because they're going to lose money because no one's going to their games, especially if it's cold weather teams. And also they're not agreeing on this CBT because they don't want other teams getting a high quote unquote salary cap. They don't want the Yankees getting a 220 salary cap and spending 215 while they can only afford to spend 85 million. But then the counter argument is like, look at what the Rays are doing. Look what the Rays do. And they compete.
Mhm.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, you can find ways to compete without just buying everyone in the bank, every free agent out there, without spending all this money. You have the way to do that is a farm system. You can have a good farm system, have guys be called up, and have productive baseball. We always talk about, especially with the Yankees in recent years, we always talk about next man up, next man up. There's guys that can be called up that can play, and some teams are more fortunate than others. But I do see where these smaller market teams are coming from in that regard, where they don't want that number getting too high, because then they're just going to get even more out of the running. They're going to be out before they even have a chance to be in.
Yeah,
because those teams are going to abuse it.
Yeah, you see where they're coming from. But then you have teams like the Pirates, where like you hear throughout the last couple of years, the owners are kind of just like
they're not trying.
We're not trying.
They're not trying at all.
The Orioles are the Orioles trying?
They're not trying. No,
they don't. They're not trying.
Not at all.
So it's a weird. Carl Ravish came out and said, he tweeted yesterday that he is a play-by-play guy for ESPN, so he's got the ins.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he feels with the way it's going, it's leading to they won't even play this year. And I think that's a little crazy. I think they'll play. I think it won't come till like June. But if you don't get a season out of this, your sport's already getting hammered.
They're that stubborn with each other that I guess I could see that happening. Again, I agree with you that like that's probably like last on the list. It's probably last to happen. But we've said this multiple times on the show. These two sides have been going at it since before COVID with the CBA stuff, and COVID's just delayed all of this, and it's been continually getting delayed. And now this is the time that they need to agree on a long-term deal and finally put this to bed. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they do cancel the whole season. This has been long already. Why not make it even longer?
I think the big market teams are eventually
they'll cave.
Or they'll put their foot down and do something about it, because like
just come to a compromise. Just bite the bullet.
Right? Yeah, just bite the bullet, because they just want to get the games going, But I lost my train of thought here. I completely lost my train of thought where I was going with this. Talking about big market teams, and then what's it called?
About you're out. You're done.
Yeah, I lost it. So on that one.
So you want to bring up some of the possible rule changes?
Yeah, I'll do that. Maybe I completely lost my train of thought. That sucked. But anyway, some rule change that came out. What's it called?
One that's already pretty much done is the universal DH.
Yeah,
correct?
Universal DH. Yeah, I thank God for that one. I mean, everyone says the gameplay and the strategy. What's it called? And it's stupid. Like, I'm not like this. How many hitters in the pitchers in the National League can hit? Like when they get DeGrom, Bumgarner, and that's about it.
Yeah,
really. Like they come up to the plate and they could put the ball in play, but everyone else is just a joke. Especially once you get into the relief pitchers, it's a joke.
Well, they don't normally see at bats.
Yeah, I know, but
there are times where they might if the managers really want to leave them in there. But really, they're getting pinch hit.
My counter to the strategy is but baseball nowadays has become so strategical and analytical. It's just another headache you're going to give to the manager, where he has to, do I bring this pitcher in now, but then I have to pinch it for him next inning, or should I stick with this guy? I hope he gets through.
But that strategy is like the basics of the game. The new analytical strategy is just that's all. I guess you could say like self-inflicted strategy. That they're thinking. In some cases they're overthinking it. In some cases it works, but the traditional strategy of the game is pinch hitting when you need to, know when to take a guy out, all of that stuff, and especially moving on to shifts where it's pretty likely that the players want the shifts banned.
Yeah,
and that's going to eliminate more strategy to the game. On top of also a couple years ago, or the 60-game COVID season, which trickled into last year, where relievers have to pitch to 3 batters minimum before they're pulled. That eliminates the righty lefty back to back. That eliminates more strategy of the game. With all that being said, I'm not fully against all three of those moves. I definitely love the DH in the NL. If, let's just say, in some, like miracle world, that instead of the DH going to the NL, the DH is away from the AL, let's just say that happened, I would be okay with that too, because at least it's even on both sides. At least it's even on both sides, and you find a way to keep some strategy in the game. But I understand the league wants offense, and that's all fine in regards to the DH. The shifts, you're now eliminating another strategic point, and if they keep the 3-batter minimum, that's still another strategic point gone. And it's a lot in a short period of time for me. Again, it is what it is.
It feels like they're
fine.
rushing and cramming to oh my God, our sport's like struggling. Let's rush and cram.
Let's just rush, change all this without really giving it thought, and then just see if it works. See if we get popular. See if the offense increases. That I agree with that. It just seems forced.
Yeah, the shift. I there was a picture that we were looking at yesterday that like there was a Joey Gallo shift where the Astros had like every fielder in right field. It was like a joke.
Yeah,
those shifts. Okay. A little ridiculous, but like a basic shift where you pull the second baseman a little bit into right field on a guy who pulls. I see it as you're playing against a quarterback. You're playing man coverage today instead of cover 2 because that quarterback, you feel like you could beat him on man coverage better if you could beat him on cover 2. I like this shit. It's a way to get people out. It's a strategy against your opponent, and it's your opponent's goal to then do something about it and adapt to it. Joey Gallo, they're playing for you to pull. Push the ball. I know it's easy said than done, but push the ball, bunt the ball down the left field line.
100%.
But the thing is, analytics, especially with the Yankees nowadays, say hit the ball over everyone's head and hit a home run, and that's what they want you to try to do because more times than not, you're not going to hit the ball over their heads and hit a home run.
But like you said with the football comparison, so yeah, the defense adjusts to the quarterback. They make a decision. Then it's the quarterback's job to adjust to the defense and call his audible. That's how it works. So that's completely fine in the game of baseball. The Joey Gallo in that situation that you mentioned with the pitcher needs to bunt the ball to the left, like you just said. That's the counter argument there. But that's why I'm perfectly fine with Shift staying. I understand it gets abused too at times, but that's the game. That's the strategy of it. So I just don't understand. I just don't like that all these changes are happening in such a short amount of time, and the league's just so worried about getting the offense going, which is good for the game. It makes it more exciting. I'm completely on board with that. But maybe if the league wanted to keep the ratings and all that, maybe they wouldn't be getting caught juicing and unjuicing the balls. Maybe that deterred a lot of people because now you have the MLB inflicting on the game when they don't have to. Like there's other things that they've done or things that they could do to increase the popularity of the game. Not all these rule changes that are pretty drastic moves, minus the DH. The DH I don't really put into this category all that much, but the other two, the pitchers, the 3-batter minimum, and
I never liked the 3-batter minimum.
I don't like it either.
What if you're bringing a guy and it's like runner on second and third, and he comes in, let's in a 3-run home run, and now you're up 1 run after the 3-run home run. You're going to let him stay in the game now?
Yeah.
He just came in. Let's say he comes in second and third. You're up 4. He throws 3 balls in a row, 4th pitch of the bat, 3-run home run. He just threw,
and he looks rattled. And
now you got to have him sitting there up 1 run. Now it's stupid. That's dumb. But they did that so they can move the game faster. I'm sure if you give us some time, we could think of. Sometime I mean like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Better ways to speed the game other than the 3-pitcher rule.
That's I agree with you where it just feels forced. It just feels like they're willing to throw everything and anything out there and just see if it sticks. It's not, let's think about this and before we make this decision, let's just throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like, I don't know. The MLB is,
I think they did that was like I think that was the mindset with like the runner on second base thing. Like, let's see what happens.
We'll exactly.
And it was atrocious. That was atrocious. That's not.
It's one thing to do it in the COVID. No, it was back last year.
I know, but is it coming back again?
I hope not. I mean, I completely get it for that COVID season, 60-game COVID season, whatever. It was a good time to experiment because it was a short season anyways. Why not? But to roll it over into last year, that annoyed me. And now if it gets rolled over again into this year, which is another shortened season, only by maybe 6 games right now, but probably more, I'm like that's pulling me away from the game. Not the lack of offense. Like that's what's pulling me away from the. I mean, I'm still watching, but you know what I mean. Like that's what would be more likely to pull me away.
And what you saw about pulling you away. Kyle Palmieri. We're watching the Islander game right now. Kyle Palmieri's been on fire, by the way, but I guess we'll get into that when we talk Isles Rangers. You're talking about pulling me away from baseball. A big conversation is that they're going to lose fans. The fans are going to be so disgusted with what's happening, they're going to walk away. You might, like, if basketball was doing this right now, you would lose me completely because I'm like barely hang on to basketball.
Yeah, but when it comes,
but if you have any sort of casual baseball fan, you're not going to lose them.
I know.
I heard a good analogy, which was people love their singers and their artists, and some of their famous, like Chris Brown, does not have a good history, especially with the Rihanna. People still buy his stuff. Even the casual rap and hip hop fan, they'll still listen to Chris Brown, even though what he's done. And the rappers too, and rock stars as well that have their baggage. We always go back.
Time heals all of that.
Like I'm a big Metallica fan. They had a big problem in the early 2000s with new music, with the music they were putting out. Fans did not like their music. Then they had a big feud with Napster. I wasn't really knowledgeable at the time because I was like 5, but like I'm sure they didn't lose that many fans were probably mad at them at that, like in the early 2000s, but over time they're still listening to all the Metallica albums, going back to the concerts. I don't think this is going to kill their fan base. I feel, everyone has a right to be annoyed, but I don't think at the end of the season's MLB is gonna be like, wow, we're gonna have their revenue report and be like, wow, the lockout really made us lose so many fans.
That's also the same thing with like the NFL, with everyone kneeling, or everyone that's against the kneeling is like, oh, I'm never watching football. They're watching.
They'll go back. It hurt them in the beginning. It did.
Yeah.
But people
go
back. I mean, look at the ratings
long
this
period.
year.
That's what I'm saying. Over a long period of time
heals all wounds.
Time heals all wounds, and everyone's got short memories.
The opening week, the Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday night games, and like the Sunday prime game, like this big Sunday afternoon games, the opening week of the NFL season that like began the kneeling stuff. They did take a huge ratings hit. They did. But then over time, people come back.
Short memories.
We move on. It's not a big deal. We live with it. The Super Bowl. I've got the number.
The football game.
It was insane. It was insane. The view.
It was one of the most. It was one of the most rated games.
And even every playoff game.
I think also, which this is a pretty good transition. I think that also had a lot to do with sports betting being legal. That got a lot more eyes on.
If only we were doing sports betting next segment. But
damn, we're not.
Right, we're doing Isles Rangers.
Yeah,
don't jump the gun.
I think
we did have a conversation before the show. What do we do second, Isles Rangers or the Calvin Ridley thing? And we wound up going with the Isles Rangers going second. But before we even move on to anything, we're live on Twitter Spaces as always. We always accept live call-ins as the Avalanche are about to score. Nope, fall off me to save. It's my dad, right? You showed me on the call. Yep. Let's see. We got to wait for him to come in. It's always we got to wait for that buffering period. There he is. Sounds like a shower.
He's here.
Sounded like a shower when he first came.
I'm in the shower calling.
Yeah, live from the shower.
Hey, you're multitasking.
Live from the shower. Yes.
What's going on?
How's it going, guys?
Good.
Sorry to hear about Joe. Joe, hopefully you feel better.
Yeah. We were first.
He's listening right now. He's on Twitter Spaces.
And we were first
I see him. I see him.
You see his profile. Give him a follow.
Oh, he just left.
He just left. He
dropped off.
Yeah.
You scared him off.
We scared him away.
Yeah. As far as this MLB, the lockout, it's a definite mess what's going on. But I think that runner on second base, extra innings, is going to stay in place. I think that's the way it's going. They actually like that. And what do you guys think about the pitcher's clock, the time? Now they're saying MLB proposing 19 seconds. If there's runners on the base, you have to deliver the pitch. And if there's nobody on the base, 14 seconds. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, again, I don't like that they want to change a lot in such a short amount of time, but it will make the game go faster. There are pitchers that abuse it and take forever to throw a pitch, so that will eliminate that.
What's the penalty? Did you mention if there, or did you say
it's nice?
It's a ball. It's a ball if you go exceed. Okay, if nobody's on base, you have to deliver the pitch in 14 seconds.
Okay.
If somebody's on base, you have to deliver the pitch within 19 seconds.
Okay.
If you don't deliver with that time period, it's a ball.
When does the clock start? From the moment the ball gets back in the pitcher's glove?
Probably.
When
When the catcher throws the ball. Yeah, well, you could say that. When the catcher throws the ball back to the mound.
What if
back
it's a
to the
foul
pitcher.
ball and the ump throws it back to the mound?
Same thing. Same theory there.
So whenever the ball gets out of the guy's
whenever
hand,
it's headed back towards the pitcher.
Back to the pitcher, the clock starts. Exactly.
I mean,
I feel like 14 seconds could not be a lot of time.
I know, right? That's what I'm thinking. You want to get the pitchers to move it along, but even when there's nobody on base, it's going to be a high stress situation. You're up 1 in the 8th inning with no outs, and you're just coming in the game.
What if it's a tie game in the bottom of the 9th?
And no one's
there's
on.
A lot of what ifs there, but my thinking here is, how about the 19-second rule with runners on base? How does that work when pitchers throw over to first, to keep the guy close?
Or they step off the mound, does the clock reset?
Maybe let's say it's a pitch out to first base. That probably counts as a pitch. And then when the first baseman's throwing it back to the pitcher, it probably resets. I would think.
Hey, you're gonna have a lot of that going on, don't you think?
This is a very ticky. There's so many. This is a very broad rule. And again, even if the game's tied and the 8th and there's no one on, 14 seconds is not enough. There's a lot of strategy that goes in between the catcher, the pitcher, and the dugout to figure out.
Well, they want you to do that quicker, Jordan.
Yeah,
that's the whole purpose.
But now, what if you know how you see the guys the guy getting a lead from first base if he's trying to steal second? They're constantly looking, seeing. They're going to be forced to throw the pitch out ball because the clock's running out, or pitch the ball.
And now the guy on base, he sees the clock's at 12 seconds. He knows 2 seconds. I'm making my move.
Yeah.
Or 19 seconds.
He's reading the pitcher and waiting for him to throw the ball to run to second or whatever.
And it's hard to pick up on that read when he's going to start his delivery.
When you see the play clock going down, which assumingly it's going to be displayed in the stadium,
right?
He's going to have the jump on that.
Yeah.
It'll be displayed in front of both dugouts.
That would be like an edge guy in the NFL, knowing when the quarterback's going to call hike so he could jump the line.
No, in the NFL, if the clock's 3, 2, 1, I can jump now because I know the play clock's coming to an end. So you could put a play clock in. I would make it a little longer than 14 seconds. But
this might work. Let's look at the flip side of this. Might work against the batter too. These batters like to step out, fix their glove, get themselves set. Now they feel a little pressured and rushed. It might. But what the MLB, they tested this in Class A. And they said they cut 20 minutes off the games on average.
Any complaints?
No, not really. I was listening on the radio. I didn't hear any
Test it out
complaints.
in spring training, whatever.
If we had one.
Yeah, I don't know
get to that.
if they're going to have that. But my just thought was the 19-second rule with runners on base. So we're going to have a lot of pickoff attempts. It's
because
just to extend the clock.
Exactly, because the pitcher and the catcher and the dugout, there's going to be times they're not going to get their mindset in 19 seconds. So they're just throw it to first.
They're going to find ways
to
abuse
off the mound. Step off the mound. Call time.
Yeah.
They'll throw it to first, but no runner there.
Yeah.
I think there should be a clock, but
there should be. Yeah, I think so too.
I think there certainly should be a clock. We originally thinking 20 seconds.
I think 19 seconds with nobody on and 26 seconds. Maybe that might be a little
24.
26 is a lot.
24 seconds for a runner on base. Make it like football where you have to play clock pretty much. But
because they're going to have to restart the clock on these pickoffs, right?
Well, this wouldn't be for this year, anyways. Let's say if it does.
They agreed on implementing new changes within 45 days in the season.
Oh wow!
They already agreed on that. But so instead of coming up, do you remember that change they made last year? All the pitchers were pissed off about. I forgot the change.
The pine tar?
Checking them.
It affected our pitcher.
Spire Tack, Garrett Cole, Spire Tack.
Yeah, now they can do it as long as they give the Players Association 45 days notice.
But this is a rule change. That's a little different than just checking guys for spider tack. I feel like
rule. Like you can't have spider.
Yeah, these are rules.
No, that's a rule, but it's not like a rule. It's not baseball's rule. Like you get what I'm saying? Like it's not a rule for the game.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I feel like that's a little harder to change mid-season. So what? You're gonna have some games where this wasn't in effect, and the rest of the games of the season where it is. How is that fair?
I know, right? Well, it's the same thing with the Spider Tack. Spider Tack started off last season okay, and then what do they clamp down on it in May, June?
But that was at least
something. They implemented it in June, Jordan.
The spider attack thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
I
cracked
get
down
that
on
too,
in
but at
June.
least that wasn't like changing a rule of the game. Like, oh, let's just say, okay, the game's 9 innings for the first half, but now it's only 7 innings for the second. Like, that's a big rule change.
I understand. Speaking of rule change, one last quickie on this lockout. Then another proposal is the 14-team playoffs, right? You heard that one.
Yeah.
Did you hear the breakdown? So the first seed gets the bye.
Mm-hmm.
The second seed gets to choose out of the lower 3 teams that make the playoffs who they want to play. What do you think about that?
I remember this.
Pick your team. What is this? A fantasy
I know.
world? What are we playing? Video games here?
They're trying to. We're gonna go back to this. They're making a lot of changes in a short amount of time, all in like a desperate attempt to make it more appealing. And that's what I don't like about it.
But that's stupid, don't you think?
Very, very. It's.
I mean, so
have
second
have two play 7, have 3 play 6,
Jordan,
and 4
can
play
you
5.
look up and see who the last year was 10 teams, I think, made the playoffs.
Yeah,
so whoever the first team was, I think it wasn't the Dodgers, it was the Giants, right?
What's with the AL? The AL was the Rays were the number 1 seed, so they'll get a bye. The Astros would then get the pick on the last 3 teams. The last 3 teams, so they would get to pick the Red Sox, Yankees, or White Sox.
Right.
Not in that order, but and then whoever they don't pick play each other. So the Astros, let's say they pick the Yankees, Red Sox will play the White Sox. But they want to add more teams now, so they would add more teams and then have the teams pick.
Yeah, go for look up the standings and see those 500 teams that are going to be in now.
So how many teams make it in each? 1, 2,
it would
3,
be 7
4,
in
5.
Each.
So 7 in each. So 2 more in each league.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Blue Jays would have made it, and the Mariners.
Okay. No, it's 4 teams more in each league.
No, it's 4 teams total, 2 in each side.
Yeah.
4 teams on each side.
Yeah.
No. Last year was 10 teams or 12?
Yeah, 10 teams total make. Yeah. So Rays, Red Sox, Yankees, White Sox, Astros. That's 5. So then 5 in AL, 5 in NL. They want to jump, so 4 more total.
14. Okay.
Yeah, and then 2 on each side. So the Mariners and Blue Jays would have made it. So the Rays would get the bye, and the Astros would pick, do they want to play the Mariners, Blue Jays, Yankees, or Red Sox? And then the Astros would say pick the Mariners.
Yeah.
And the Yankees would play the Blue Jays would play the White Sox, I'm assuming, based on where they were in the standings, and the Yankees would play the Red Sox. I'm assuming in a best of 5.
I just think they watered down the product that way.
100%.
Yeah.
We said that last week. Especially such a big jump going from 10 to 14. You're not even going to go to 12 first.
And then why does number 2 select who they want to play? What is this? Little League?
Yeah, I know, right?
It's crazy.
It's like video games. It's like a fantasy league. You pick what you want. And
then the number 2 seed plays the best out of 3, all at home.
All at home. We're getting way too. We're picking at everything now. It's getting.
This is why we don't have a season right now.
Yeah, it's
like this is why they got to come into agreement.
Yeah, this is like they're picking at everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for that. And then when you add more teams, same argument with football. You have bad teams potentially making the playoffs. Yeah, a 90-win Mariner team, sure, that's fine. I mean, 90 wins, but. Look at the NL. Look at the teams that are making it in the NL. The Phillies get it at 82 and 80. The Reds get it at 83 and 79. The Mets could have been fighting to the last second.
Well, that's the idea there. They have teams still in the playoff hunt.
Yep.
Come September. That's
they want to eliminate the tanking in that aspect.
And teams can make more money by pushing to the playoffs and making to the playoffs,
Listen, NFL ratings are through the roof. We all agree. I'm a Steeler fan. There's no way the Steelers should have made the playoffs last year. It was watered down.
And the Eagles too. And look at those games. Look at the product we got on both of those games.
Right.
Terrible.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Exactly.
And that's what we're going to see because of this. Because we want to jump to 14 teams, almost half the league.
There's a lot going on. But one last thing is, they missed they had a strike a long time ago when they missed the World Series. I forgot what year it was. 94. First time in the history of MLB. There's a lot more options for people now. It's a whole different world. The longer they take to come to an agreement, it's going to affect them. It's going to affect them. And
it will
as far as in their pocket.
It will short term, but long term, like I don't think anyone's gonna. If they're a casual fan, like Jordan was saying earlier, if they're a casual fan, maybe they'll shy away from it for a little bit, but they'll come back. They'll come back. Long term, if they're a big enough fan, they're not gonna just stop watching altogether forever.
Yeah, I don't think the people that like watch are gonna just give up on the product. They'll lose.
No,
The people that want to watch the Yankees instead of the Islanders, or they want to watch the Red Sox instead of the Bruins, they might watch the Bruins instead. They might watch the Rangers instead.
Mhm.
But the guys who diehards or a step or two below diehards, they're not going to lose them. But they'll lose the guy. Toronto Maple Leafs, Toronto Blue Jays. I'm watching the Maple Leafs, but most likely in Canada, that's what they're doing.
If anything, the way they're going to lose fans is if when baseball comes back, it's a completely different game, which is what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to hurt them.
That's
the most,
what's going to hurt them the most.
Changing the game.
But I think these moves they're trying to make is to entice the fans to come back. It's crazy.
But everyone's going to have a different opinion about it.
Might be doing the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate the time. I'll drop off and listen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dad, for calling. Yeah. All right. So we're watching actually the Islander game right now. They're up 1-0. It's a 4-4 right now. Devon Taves took a penalty, and the Islanders scored on the power play. Anders Lee. So that will move us into hockey. The Islanders will start off because we're watching them right now. A season to not remember. Absolute disaster. Started off on a 13-game road trip, and then during that 13-game road trip, the whole team got COVID, one after another. Nobody canceled any games, so the Islanders played with a minor league team and then lost 10 straight games, and they've never been able to recover. But that's great to like put your head on and sleep on and feel better about your team. But also the reason why this team's not good this year is because a lot of underperformance across the board. Josh Bailey, not good at all. The fourth line is not the best fourth line in hockey anymore. Kyle Palmieri before a month ago was irrelevant at best, but Kyle Palmieri has been on fire as of late. So credit to him. And I can go on and on with underperformance. Barzal is injured right now. The old vets are playing up to their name. They are just old now. They're really showing their age. So the Islanders are having a season to forget right now. And you had bad play from Varlamov, who's actually playing very good right now. But Varlamov might be, we saw the stat before the game. Varlamov 0-5 his last 5 games, only has allowed 8 goals. So he hasn't been good most of this year, but this recent stretch, kind of not his fault. The Islanders can't score. But here's the thing. Defensively, they haven't been the same team. Combine that with, like, if they're off slightly defensively, the Islanders, then things are going to go bad. As Varlamov makes another save on McKinnon. The Islanders have to be great defensively in order to be, especially with the way the lineup's constructed and the talent they have. They have to be great defensively. Right now, they're all right defensively. They're like top 10 defensive team in the league. It's kind of hard to believe that there's still a top 10 defensive team, but yet they're nowhere near a playoff spot right now. And the season's been a disaster. So it's kind of weird. So the Islanders going to the trade deadline. Names that have been discussed is Chara. You're not going to get much from him, but I guess anything's better than nothing. Another name was everyone would love to get rid of Kyle Palmieri, but even when they wanted to get rid of him, it would have been very hard to because he has a big contract and he was underperforming and you just signed him. So good luck getting rid of that. But he has had a little bit of resurgence as of late. He's playing very good, scoring a lot of goals. So he's not going to get moved. Josh Bailey has been a name that teams are inquired about. He has some years left in his contract. That's a guy you can get rid of to open up some cap space. Cal Clutterbuck's a free agent after this year, so you might as well get rid of him now and get something for him instead of getting nothing for him and going into the offseason. So the Islanders will lose Cal Clutterbuck, whether it be trading or in the offseason when his contract's up. So that's cap space. Chara's gone, no matter a trade or free agency, that's cap space. Andy Green's gone, whether it be free agency or cap space. Josh Bailey is only gone if you trade him. So that's even more cap space. Another name, I vouch for him, but now you can't vouch for it because the Islanders aren't competitive, is Varlamov. I vouch for him because at the time I said you don't trade Varlamov because the Islanders still had hope. There was a chance because they had a lot of games in hand and they were playing okay. But not the case anymore. So there's no need for Varlamov as the ref just called one of the worst penalties of all time. Watch this penalty.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's one of the worst penalty calls I've ever seen.
That's like the definition of like a love tap right there. And they call that. Literal definition.
Yeah, Sharp's at the game right now. I'm texting him right now. I'm like, because I don't think they'll show the replay.
We have a man in the
I
stands.
looked at the TV and Barry Trotz was like laughing. I'm like, was it that bad? And they just showed the replay. It's horrible. So Varlamov, who actually has some tenure left on his deal, he could be traded. So that's even more cap space, and you'll get a good return for him. You'll get a good return. You look at a team like Edmonton, teams that are like on the brink of the playoffs or in a wild card spot that need a goalie. Like, let me look right now. Toronto's fine with goalie. Even though Campbell just got hurt. Panthers, they're not going to make a move for the goalie, but their goalies are not good. Vasilevsky's great with the Lightning. Jeremy Swayman's great with Boston. The Hurricanes are great with Anderson. The Rangers are more than great with Shesterkin. I'll get into that later. Penguins are great with Jari. The Capitals are good with Vanacek in the East. Now we look to the West, and the Avalanche just scored. The Blues, maybe. Bennington's not playing that good. Ville Husso is, though. The Avalanche, maybe. I don't know how much they love Darcy Kemper. The Wild like Cam Talbot, I believe. The Stars, maybe. The Flames have a great goalie in Markstrom. The Kings have an okay 1-2 duo in Jonathan Quick and Cal Pedersen. The Golden Knights, maybe, but they are in cap hell right now, so I don't think so. And then you have the Oilers for a goalie. So Varlamov's going to have a big market going into this trade deadline. A very big market.
So you 100% want you would want him traded?
I would like him traded. Yeah. Because I believe with the
way
the Isles develop goalies and how the Isles have took goalies like Thomas Greiss, who was a backup at best, and Lehner, whose career was failing, and turned them into solid starters.
Now look at them.
And Varlamov, who's a good goalie, but has taken his game really to the next level ever since coming to the Islanders. They've had a great history. And then Sorokin coming overseas.
Yep.
He was great overseas, but has been great with us. I trust that they can get a goalie in free agency because there are some names. That is one that I like, that they can get a good goalie or solid goalie and turn him into a great asset. So I have no confidence.
Yeah,
no problem
in that scenario, then you're gonna get what you want. You're gonna get for Varley, but I don't know. I feel like there's pros and cons to it. I'm not fully on board for getting rid of him, but I guess it all depends what they would get back. Would they get back a player that could start, or are they going to get back draft capital?
They'll get back draft capital.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll get back. They're not going to get back a win. I don't think the Islanders will get back a win now player.
Maybe not a win now player, but maybe like a solid piece. Yeah,
maybe a prospect and draft picks. A guy that's like, we might not be ready now, maybe a year from now, and draft picks for Varlamov.
Yeah.
So you lose.
For me, I guess it matters what we get back. Like if we're not getting back enough, I would be upset.
You don't force the trade.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the thing. You need the cap space going into the offseason because here's a conversation to be had. On the Predators is Philip Forsberg. He's a very, 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 very good player. Very good player. A point-a-game player. All right? The Predators have been slipping a little bit, but they're fighting for a playoff spot right now. All right? Philip Forsberg is a free agent after the season. Philip Forsberg is to come up in trade talks right now. And it's weird. It's like, why would a team competing for a playoff spot want to trade their star player?
Yeah.
But there's different avenues to this. The Predators have 3 big contracts on their team already. Roman Josi, one of the best defenders in the league. That well-earned, that contract. Well-earned. Then you have 2 really bad contracts on the team. You have Ryan Johansson and you have Matt Duchene. 2 guys that have fat contracts. Johansson signed an 8-year, $64 million deal in 2017. And Matt Duchene signed he gets $6 million a year. He signed in 2017. Oh, no, that's Matt Dumba. Nope, wrong guy. That's not right. Duchene. Why did it do that to me? Matt Duchene, 7-year, $56 million contract. And he has how many more years left on that one? He has till 2025, 26. So 2 fat contracts on this team for guys that are underperforming, that aren't really playing up to that contract. Then you have Josi, which is the exception. Yoshi's one of the best defenders in the league. So the Predators are like, we might not be able to sign him because he's going to want more money than Roman Josi, or Roman Josi money, which is earned. But are we going to be able to give him that type of money? Because we already have 3 big contracts and 2 of them are guys that are underperforming. But they could be like, you know what? It's going to be hard to re-sign this guy, but let's hold on to him because we're in the middle of a playoff race. Or they could be like, you know what? We're in the middle of a playoff race. on the outside looking in, but we're right there. But we really don't see like ourselves making that run. So why lose him for nothing in free agency where we can get something back from him? Maybe a win now piece we can get back from him. So that's why the Predators would be inclined to trade him. And at first glance, I thought, why would the Islanders make a move for Philip Forsberg?
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is this season has been a wash. This season the Islanders are on, I don't think it's indicative of the coach or the GM or their gameplay. It's just a bad year. Things just didn't go well at all. The guys underperformed, and then external factors, a combination for disaster. Barry Trotz, you're not going anywhere. The Islander fans that think he should be gone, you're insane. Who are you getting? Who are you getting? Get no one. There's no one else you're replacing Barry Trotz with. The system works. Like I said before, you look at this year as terrible. So do I. They're still a top 10 defensive team.
Those are the fans that want to side with like the Barzell drama where it's like, you know, the system's not working for our star players. We want to see goals. We want to see points. We want to see him be one of the best offensive players in the league.
Yeah.
Those are where those fans are coming from.
Yeah, no, and this year, you look at Ilya Sorokin's numbers. If Ilya Sorokin puts up this type of season on an Islander successful year, he's a Vezina candidate. Sorokin's playing fantastic goaltending. All right. Noah Dobson is shown he's the guy on defense. He's been phenomenal this year for the Islanders. Matt Barzal, and here's where I'm going to connect the Phil Forsberg predicament. Barzal has shown he's still the guy. Barzal's great in a defensive system. He can still put up numbers. All right. Brock Nelson can show he's a 25-30 goal scorer. He's on pace for 30 goals right now. Adam Pellick and Ryan Pulock still proving they are a great pairing. One of the best in the league. All right. So this is not a rebuild into the offseason. This is a retool, like I said before. So this is where it comes in with Philip Forsberg. You go to Nashville. You're the Islanders. You're like, we're bad right now. This is a bad year. But this isn't us. This isn't the Islanders. We're going to be back next year. You tell Philip Forsberg that. This isn't us. We're going to be back next year. And the piece we need, ever since John Tavares was around, was the elite winger. Mm-hmm. We had the elite winger for a few months with Thomas Vanek, and we saw immediately how great that paid off. He was lighting the world up with Okposo and Tavares, and then he got traded because we sucked. We need that elite winger. That's Phil Forsberg. And if the Islanders don't trade for Phil Forsberg, you risk him going to a team, a contender, let's say
in the Metro.
Yeah, let's say the Capitals, let's say the Metro. And he re-signs middle of the season. Mm-hmm. Then he's not there in the offseason. So if he goes to a contender through trade at the trade deadline, you risk him not being there in free agency. And you can say, hey, we're not doing good now, but we could still trade for you now. You could side with us long-term right now because you're going to sign long-term because this is not the real team.
Yeah.
We're the real Islanders is the Eastern Conference Finals, is the one goal away team. You sign with us, you play in a new arena. You sign with us, you play in a great place to live in Long Island. You sign with us on when we trade for you, you play with Matt Barzal, and you've seen how great he's been with a rotating door at wing. Now you get a solid elite winger. Those two will be a perfect match.
If only he was listening to you right now.
I know. I'm making a great sales
I'm ready to go.
Right? I'm making a great sales
You really are.
Right? I hope Phil Forsberg tunes into the Uncontested Sports or any Islander players or anyone
that want to send it their way.
Send the message.
It his way.
Play the recording. Send the message.
But it's kind of up to him. Well, it's up to him to sign the extension if he gets here. But if he gets traded, that's not up to him.
I don't know if he has a no movement clause. I don't think he does.
Well, then that's the one way it would be.
Yeah, I don't think he does. So if he were to get, but the thing is, the only reason the Islanders make the trade is that they know he's signing here immediately.
Yes.
That's why they did the Pajot and the Palmieri trades. No, Palmieri was they didn't sign right away. Pajot,
the trade has to come with the deal.
Yeah, Pajot his trade came with the deal.
Now, what would the Islanders have to give up?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the other half of it.
I don't know.
So because we're not going to want to give up the house. We're not going to want to give.
Would you
get him in live from the game? The period's almost over.
Yeah, no, the first period's almost over. What would you give up for Forsberg?
He was
the one that convinced me. He was the one that I was talking about Xbox. I'm like, but why would we trade for Phil Forsberg right now? And he convinced me. So he helped me out.
I'm asking him to hop on the Twitter Spaces quick.
Yeah. What? Yeah. But he's at the game.
There's a commercial.
There's a commercial. Yeah. So better off. There's no play right now. So he's most likely on his phone. I need your insight on this potential trade. On my way here.
We want Sharp.
Yeah, no, we want Sharp. No, Nick can come on for Rangers
can.
talk.
Yeah,
Oh
he
no,
can.
Nick, I can use you for Rangers talk.
Look at us fielding guests.
Yeah, look at this.
We're fielding guests this week.
We're being good marketers here. We're good salesmen.
to our group chat.
Yeah, I can use a fan's insight on the Rangers right now. But there's the conversation to be had, because you don't want to wait for a guy like Philip Forsberg to go to free agency because he might not be there. And the Islanders have been a very tough destination for guys.
We're getting no one. We're getting
no one.
We got two hard no's.
Good time. I wish at the end of the period, Sharp.
We're yelling at him.
Yeah,
we're getting angry with him.
Anyway, the Islanders have not been a destination. Yeah, I can't. I'm sick.
What's he doing?
I don't know. Yeah, he's at the game.
Is he in the Heineken bar? The terrace?
Right. He's getting
too
wasted
busy?
right now.
What's going on?
Is he floored, or is he fighting a fan right now?
He answered. I'm meeting up with Mike to book flights for Miami at the end of the month. Time and a place. John.
I know, right? Time and a place. Exactly. So the Islanders have not been a destination for when the free agency hits July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the destination. They become a better team. They have a better arena now. They have a couple pieces on the team that can entice people, but no one's really taken a bait yet. So why risk that getting to July 1st when you could potentially do it now? And I'm thinking maybe Wallstrom might be a name you have to give up. Probably a couple draft picks. Maybe you can entice them with Bellows and give more draft picks so you don't have to make up. Because Wallstrom, I believe, is the bigger fish than Bellows.
If the Islanders are going to want, let's say this specific trade scenario, if the Islanders are going to want Forsberg, it's going to be a tough sell because you need to ensure that he signs when the trade takes place.
No. They don't hit offer trade unless they know
exactly
he's coming.
Him coming for a rental this year is useless.
Yeah,
it's completely useless.
Yeah. That was my mindset at first, but then I'm like, you know what? They could sell him on this. This was just a bad year. Blah blah blah. We have Barzal.
The deal has to come with. I mean, the trade has to come with the contract,
and that's why you got to Bailey's contract. You got to.
That's a tough sell though to him.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough sell to him. To like. If we trade for you, we're not playing for anything right now because we're not making the playoffs. So you'd have to come with us on the
Tell
sell.
Him go on vacation for the rest of the year.
I know.
As long as we have them for the rest of this,
keep your body healthy.
For the next 5.
Yeah, keep your body healthy, stay healed, and So
be with the family.
Yeah, be with the family. Go back to Sweden where he's from as the first period ends, and Sharp's got to talk about flight plans now. So the Rangers now. Absolutely fantastic season under Gerard Gallant. Really, there's a couple names on the team that can win awards. I mean, Kreider might win the Rocket Richard for most goals in the season. Adam Fox might win the Norris Trophy again. Igor Shesterkin's probably going to win the Vezina. Might win an MVP too with the way he's playing. He just won third star of the week. He went 3-0 with like a .930 save percentage and a 1.4 goals against average. You're absolutely sensational. Oh, and by the way, you also have Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad playing fantastic. Oh, and also, Jacob Trouba is finally playing up to that contract. Jacob Trouba is playing very good hockey. So the Rangers have a lot going for them, except for depth, which they need to get at the deadline. But you might have some concerns if you're a Ranger fan, but I'm not saying sell out everything right now and go for it right now, because if you don't win it now, just the Eastern Conference is going to be a tough hill to climb. You got the Panthers, the Hurricanes, you got the Lightning, you got the Penguins. All right. You got potentially the Maple Leafs if they can make it out of the first round. So it's a tough hill to climb in the Eastern Conference. A lot of good teams, but I'm not saying sell off everything for this year. But you have a lot going. What's going the Rangers' way right now? You're lucky if you get one. You're lucky if you get a Norris Trophy guy or an MVP candidate. No, you got a Norris Trophy guy, a guy who might win the goal, the Rocket Richard for most goals. You might have an MVP candidate and a Vezina candidate in that. You also have two studs in Panarin and Zibanejad, and you also have Trouba playing very well. All right. What you need is depth. And also, you can also use another big piece as well. They've been linked to Jacob Chychrun. They've been linked to a reunion with Jake T. Miller. But here's the thing. More Chychrun with Miller, it's going to come at a high cost. And here's the thing. I say go for it, but you don't shell out like crazy. You don't want to shell out like crazy. because you don't want to risk 1 year on the future years. It's like a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because the Rangers, if they do go for it, they'll be in the conversation this year. But then here's the hard place, the rock and the hard place. You don't want if you don't hit the nail on the head and win the cup this year, you might sacrifice the next few.
It's not like they have the depth anyway that they could trade away. So you're kind of trading away any like young depth that you have now for win now guys. And if you're not 100% ready to win now, maybe you're kind of getting ahead of it too soon, and then you lose out on good development.
Exactly. You don't want to jump the gun if you're the Rangers, but
then again, a Stanley Cup.
It doesn't come every year. Nothing's guaranteed. I mean, look at the Islanders. Everyone picked them to go to the Cup this year, and they're not going to even be close right now. But the Rangers, a lot's going their way, and you don't get this type of success. It's not guaranteed you get it from one guy, let alone 6. And Igor Shesterkin coming off a year where he was okay, all right. Now he's a Vezina guarantee and possibly an MVP conversation. So I think depth is something you need to address on question about it. The Rangers need depth, and that should be not a risk. Like, you're not risking future on depth right now. What a future risk is a Chychrun or JT Miller right now to add that extra stud to get you over the finish line, along with adding depth, which the Rangers do need, because there's nothing there. There's no production from the young guys, not at all. And there's no production from the bottom half. And so a stud on defense also will really compensate. You really right now, it's just Trouba and Fox on that defensive end that I see is as capable players in a playoff run. I think you'll need, if you're going to go with a stud in depth, you go with stud on defense, depth on the forward side.
Are they kind of in that scenario where it's like, if they're going to go for it. If not, like, kind of don't bother. You know what?
Say that again.
Are they in a situation where it's like, if they're going to go for it and just ball out, trade for like multiple guys, maybe like 3 guys or whatever it is, and you're going for the cup this year? Or it's kind of like, if you're going to make 1 to 2 like mediocre moves, is it then it's not really worth it? Then you're just wasting your capital or any depth.
Yeah, no, you don't want to make 1 or 2 because this core right now this group is not going to win the cup, the Rangers, unless they find lightning in the bottle. Mediocre moves is not going to cut it. They need to make solid depth moves. You can get away with not making the huge splash with the Rangers. You could.
To win it?
You could, as the Rangers.
But it's got to be multiple.
So I'm talking to my friend Dan, the Ranger fan. They need a big fish and 2 smaller fish. They definitely don't need a D-man.
I think he's listening right now.
He is. Because he texted me. He's like, I can't believe I turn on. And you guys are talking about Islanders being buyers.
He could call in if he wants.
They're being buyers. And the Islanders are being buyers in the sense they're buying for next year, not right now.
Which, if we're being honest, it is an unlikely scenario.
It is. But it sounded crazy to me when I was first told about it, but it makes sense. But the Rangers can get away with, I think, they could get away with not getting that big stud and getting the depth pieces. But here's the ideal here. You don't want to risk, you don't want to hang your hat on getting away with. Mm-hmm. I think they do need a big piece. And then add the depth on forward side. I want to ask Dan right now, if you don't think they need the D-man and Chychrun as the big fish, who do you see that big fish on the forward group being? Do you see them making a run for Forsberg? But then if they run for Forsberg, are you re-signing him? Because you got to worry about signing. You got young guys in the system that I know they're not doing good now, but long-term you might need to re-sign them. Adam Fox, Igor Shesterkin, down the line. So will you re-sign? Probably JT Miller, he said, like I mentioned, a reunion with him. He's got a decent contract, and he's also having a very good season, which is going to require a big haul as well. Let me see, 5 years, $26 million for JT Miller. His annual average is at 5.2, and his contract ends 2022, 2023. So JT Miller's not locked up that much longer. So he's only on the team. So if the Rangers were to get JT Miller right now, they'd have him from this year, next year, and then free agency. I want to ask you, Dan, what do you see giving up? What do you see giving up for Miller?
Join?
I know. I mean, he's texting me
right now. Here. He's 1 button away.
Yeah, Kako is out, so can't really talk about production. Yeah, he's hurt. Lafreniere's been doing really well this month. I mean, what's well though? I mean, I mean, the 5-on-5 goals.
Well,
but
well is nice, but you need to
Yeah,
see it over
I
a
know,
long period of
I
time.
know, especially for the first overall pick. But I want to see what he says on what he believes a JT Miller would haul. I'm trying to think of some other big names that are available at the free agent, not free agency, at the trade deadline. NHL. Because I think I would say the Rangers might need a big piece on defense.
I have a list from TSN.
If you were to ask me who's the big fish, offense or defense for the Rangers, I think it's defense. I think defense would be the
because they have guys who could score.
I know, yeah. They have Panarin, Zibanejad. They have Kreider, who's been fantastic. I mean, that's only like 3. I like after that. Where's it go? Ryan Strome,
Yeah.
right? Let's see. Hold up. Let's see. Oh, this is just an article about JT Miller. Claude Giroux, maybe. But how many centers are you gonna get? I mean, Strome's a center, Zibanejad's a center, but then you bump Strome out from the top 2.
DeBrusque?
I really want Patrick Kane, but Chicago. Patrick Kane. That's a rare. He said he wants Patrick Kane. That's I don't know about that one. But Claude Giroux's a name, but Claude Giroux likes Colorado. So we'll see what willing to do there for
this isn't a big fish, but he's on this list from TSN. Trade bait, the category is.
Yeah.
I like Andrew Kopp from Winnipeg.
From Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Yeah, Winnipeg's kind of
him.
like they're on the border of making a playoff.
He's on this list at 16.
Yeah.
And it's funny, at 17, it says Toronto first rounder. Like they have picks listed on
like
in this
Toronto,
ranking.
what they're giving up.
What it's guys most likely to be traded at the deadline. That's what this list is.
Toronto giving up their first rounder.
And Toronto giving up their first rounder.
Another name, this guy's been playing very good as of late, has not had a good career, great ideal in Boston, but he's been playing a little good. Jake DeBrusk. That would be I think that would help out the Rangers.
I said that.
You said Jake DeBrusk, you said Andrew Kopp.
Before Kopp, I said DeBrusk. I don't know if
Okay.
you heard me. I did throw his name out there. He's
DeBrusk
number 6 on the list.
Thing is, here's the thing. If the Rangers get a Jake DeBrusk, you're going to have to give up a win now piece, and Boston are going to want more from the Rangers. Why? They're in the same division. So DeBrusk is going to be hard. Dan said, thanks. JT Miller for Kravtsov, a prospect, and 2 first. Yeah, you're asking a lot. Kravtsov really hasn't been panning out the way you hoped. I mean, he's in the KHL right now. So, but you're giving up now that JT Miller's going to they're going to want a large haul. They're going to want a large haul. Andrew Kopp would be a nice third line, second line winger for the Rangers. Here's an article for the Rangers to target. Let's see. Rickard Rakell, I like him. Phil Kessel, a pending free agent. I think Phil Kessel will be a rental. I don't think if the Rangers were to get a Phil Kessel, you do not sign Phil Kessel in the free agency. He's a rental.
He's 12 on this list.
Yeah. Rickard Rakell, only 28 years old. I like Rickard Rakell.
He's 10.
Rickard Rakell, that's another chunk you're giving up. So, but Rickard Rakell and a guy, Max Domi as well. He's young. They're both younger guys, kind of in the early stages of their prime. Those are 2 guys I like for the Rangers. You're giving up less for Rakell and Domi, though, opposed to JT Miller. JT Miller is the light at the end of the tunnel, but you're giving up a large hole for him, though.
It's funny, though, because, I guess this is just more likely to be moved. So it makes sense that guys are lower that are more talented, I guess, because you have Rakell, Domi, and Kessel. Domi. I always mispronounce hockey players' names. I just can't. But they're 10, 11, and 12, and JT Miller's already down at 25 on this list.
On what? Likely guys for the Rangers or like?
No, this is just in general, I guess, likely to be moved.
Likely to be moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the Canucks right now are playing decent hockey. I mean, ever since they got a new coach, they've been not bad. I mean, defensively, they're not the best, but and Demko's a very good goalie. They got a lot of good young pieces on that team. So you'd really have to twist the Canucks arm here to get them to move JT Miller, because they're playing decent hockey. I mean, they're not really, they're kind of they're on the outside looking in, but I'm very interesting to see what the Rangers wind up doing at the trade deadline. They need a capable wing to play opposite Panarin. Panarin, they know 1 to 2 third line players, depending on how long Cat goes out. But the necessity for the Rangers, if you miss out on the big fish, you need to build up those bottom 6 forwards, and you need to build up that last 2 defenders. You need to build up your depth right now, because you can't have a Lundqvist 2.0 back there where Shesterkin's standing on his head every night, because we saw that wind up with Lundqvist. Yeah, playoffs every year, but did you get the golden fish? Did you get the cup? No, you did not. But this show, only 3 topics, but we are over an hour in, and we're not even done. Not even done.
We thought we were going to be short.
I thought it was going to be short and sweet today.
Maybe we'll go another 10 minutes.
We're not even done. So we're going to finish off with Calvin Ridley. So this year he had a very bad year, very off year, which was odd because he's a very good wide receiver. Then he left for quote unquote mental health problems. Okay. And then it comes out today, he's suspended for the whole next season for betting on sports. He only said he only bet $1,500, but still you broke the laws, the rules. That's the rule.
The law.
The law. That's the law. Calvin, a lot of players bet in sports. A lot of players bet on sports. All the time. And
it's just a matter of how
they do it.
And
exactly.
if he has a FanDuel account or a DraftKings account, that we have them, you got to enter in your social security number.
Yep.
It's linked to your person, and if you're dumb enough to have that account and get caught like this, that's on you.
I'll tell you right now, a lot
That's
of
on
these
you.
Professional sport athletes, you say, how do you know? I know. I'm not going to tell you how I know, but I know. They go through bookies. They don't do their bidding through the electronics of the social medias of the world. They go through bookies.
I'm sure
a lot of people do this. They just do it smarter, the players. Or if they do go through electronics and apps, they'll, like you said, ask a family member to do it. Don't sign up your account at Calvin Ridley legit 18, whatever his number is on the field. 18. Don't do that. All right. You got caught. It doesn't matter if you bet 1,500 or 15. You broke the rule. You got caught. And guess what? You could have got avoided this. You really could have avoided this if you would have just done it the right way.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the point of, just bet through a family member. That's untraceable to you. You ask your brother or whatever. Bet the Falcons, the Giants, and I don't know, the Panthers. Put them in a parlay for me. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give you the money. If it hits, it hits. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
And he bet on his own team. He bet on the Falcons.
That's the kicker.
Yeah,
that's the big part of the
Pete
story.
Rose did. He bet on his own team. I guess you say like, oh well, he bet on his own team. I mean, what's the harm there? But
But you don't know if he's betting to win or he's betting for them to lose.
I think he was betting them from the win.
But how do we know that for sure? That's 100% confirmed that he's betting them to win every week or whatever it is? Because the problem that the NFL sees, I'm not fully defending the NFL either, because 1 year is a pretty harsh punishment, and the way they do promote sports betting, all that does seem hypocritical. But one thing I will side with the NFL is that if he is betting even for or against the Falcons, he's got a say in that. If he's betting the Falcons to lose,
That's even worse.
He could miss. He could drop a pass. He
Yeah.
could do that. If he really wants to make money that way, if he cares to make money that way over being a good NFL player and winning football games, that's a different conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where I see that one. I think that's why he got the length that he did in the suspension, because
you impact the league, your integrity, you impact the games.
Yeah.
You could throw, if he's betting against them, he's throwing games. And if you're
Definitely.
betting for your team, it still has an impact on games in a way. But but here's the hypocritical side: the NFL and all these sport leagues, they'll crack the whip when their players do it, but they'll promote these FanDuel apps all the time, mid-game. Live betting.
Every time they come back from commercial.
Live betting. Yeah. Oh, we'll be right back. Isles and Avalanche tied at 1. Intermission report. Next commercial. FanDuel, sign up on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Intermission report sponsored by Caesars. Place your free bet now. Refer a friend. But yet the players can't do it. Again, I get that. Players shouldn't be able to bet, but it's just very funny to see the hypocrisy there. We'll make the money off it, but you can't do it if you work for us.
Exactly. And I think,
good point by my dad here. He might, even if he's betting for his team. So even if he bets for his team, you say, well, he's trying to win. So he might have inside information that the public doesn't have and affects public trust.
Exactly. It's insider trading. That's how stocks work too. Guys get arrested for that. That's something that's not okay. And that's where I do see the league's point of view. Even though there is a part that is hypocritical of them, I think it's in the rules. There's rules in his contract that's visibly there. He knows what will happen if he gets caught. So he got caught, and this is what happens. And now he's complaining that it's a whole year. He even said, he made a list of tweets today, right? I think one of the tweets was like, I did it. That's okay. But 1 year, like, come on. That's not the exact word for word, but it was along those lines. You don't have a right to complain about how long your punishment is. You knowingly broke a rule.
Yeah, I know I was wrong, but I'm getting 1 year LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Pete Rose got a life.
Yeah, you knowingly
So
broke a rule.
You got it good. You got it good.
Exactly. So come on, Calvin. Come on. Especially like you're also in a part of your career where you're most likely getting traded and getting on a new team anyways. So it's like you're almost out of there. You might Patriots maybe. I think I saw Patriots as one. And hold on.
If you know me, you know my character. Well, your character shows you knew a rule and you broke it anyway. Your actions
speak your character.
Yeah, your actions speak your character. You know the rule and you broke it anyway. But hey, same can be said with a lot of these athletes. They know the rule and they're breaking it anyway. They're just doing it smarter than he is.
Yeah.
This guy's going through bookies. They're using family members to do this because they're like, you know what? If I get caught, it'll cost me money. But if I don't get caught, I might get a lot of money. That's how they're seeing it. And they're thinking, I'm invincible. I'm not going to get caught. I know. Right? And the main thing, they go through bookies.
It's just hard to tell. I understand why they're like, in a perfect world, they should be able to bet because it like they should be able to be in on the fun too. But it's not a perfect world.
No, they shouldn't. You don't know. Even in a perfect world, they shouldn't all, because in a perfect world, the integrity of the game is it won't be impacted. If Calvin Ridley is able to bet freely, he's betting against himself every single game and throwing the game. It's easy money.
But that's why I'm saying in a perfect world. We're not in a perfect world.
No, in a perfect world, the integrity of football is maintained.
That's what I'm trying to say.
This would be a bad situation if.
No, I'm trying to say in a perfect world, let's just say these players are allowed to make bets and they go out and they still try to win it and they can separate.
Sure, they still try to, yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. In a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world. So there's a reason why they're not allowed to bet. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but they play in the league.
It's not unfortunate at all. It's not at all. You play.
You're right.
League,
you're right.
But then I remember someone said a while ago, like, why should like politicians invest in like the stock market, like something like that? Politicians can invest in stock. Meanwhile, their actions dictate way it moves. Like I remember everyone, like there was a Twitter account, it got taken down. It followed all of Nancy Pelosi's like investments, like her stock trading, whatever. Because wherever she went, that's what was the moneymaker right there. Because she knew she was involved with it, so she was able to have a pull, and the fix was in. So people would just follow the Twitter account, see where Nancy Pelosi was up to, but they took it down, the Twitter account.
Yeah.
So that's how they make their money. So yeah, I agree with that. The politicians shouldn't be able to do that, but hey, politics is a corrupt world. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Airing the outro because I think we're just about done now.
I think we are done.
Yeah,
we've said all we pretty much could say about Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, I know. We ran our course, so I guess
I'm just curious to see how this is going to affect him. I guess because
go ahead.
I saw things like on Twitter involving the Jets, like offer like a 2023 pick, whatever it is, whatever he's worth or whatever, just to get him for the following season. Like get him, sign him, and he doesn't play, he's still worth to keep long term or whatever it is.
He's still a good receiver. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Bad year.
Yeah, he just had a bad year on a crap team. So like aging Matt Ryan, there's a bunch of things why he wasn't that good. He had the mental health. He stopped
whatever
playing.
the mental health means.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just like I have to only use an excuse to walk away because I have the loan sharks up my ass right now. But it's only $1,500.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I know it's hard to tell if
is it a
was related
that
to
he had
this.
mental health issues. Now finds out he was betting.
It's there's no way we're gonna know.
I know
there's no way we're gonna know, and it's hard to tell.
A lot of people use the mental health issues nowadays as a crutch, which is very pathetic and terrible.
Yeah, and it's terrible to do to people that actually are dealing with those problems.
Oh, I got mental health, but yet you're doing interviews,
like that,
doing Subway commercials.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's ridiculous.
It's
sometimes
pathetic. So a Jordan and Ringle show of Uncontested wraps up. Joe will join us next week. Again, he's on the IL. So that'll wrap it up on this Monday night, March 7th. Tune in next week for Uncontested Sports. We might talk some football in terms of Jets and Giants, maybe a little preview for the draft, and the NHL trade deadline gets a little closer. And
free agency
as well. That's a big.
You said NHL. I'm sorry. Go.
NHL trade deadline is coming up on March 21st, and then NFL free agency comes up on next Tuesday. And who knows what happens with baseball? But for Jordan Ringle, we'll see you next week.